Today's video, we're going to talk about average ROAS for Google Ads and how it varies by niche and level of competition in your niche. So I'm going to explain why this phenomena happens in your space if you're trying to start up Google Ads. Because the most common question I get at our agency is, what's a good target or expectation of what kind of ROI or ROAS that I should expect going into this? So I know my expectations are not out of line, to know if I can actually afford to get the campaign off the ground, so to say, given that, I'll run out of money before it's profitable, if not. So with that said, I drew up a chart here that explains how the level of competition in your space, the number of competitors that you have, with example markets that different markets we've operated in the past, how that's going to affect how quickly you're going to get to this break-even line, which you should absolutely know what that break-even line is before you get started. In terms of percentage of what your product cost is that you can afford to spend on advertising cost and still be profitable. Because, naturally, when you get to that point in time, or that point in your running your account, you should be jumping up and down for joy because you're going to make millions down the line because the account's only going to get more efficient and you're not going to run out of money because it's already feeding itself. So really what you're doing at the beginning is trying to figure out what it is that you need to do in terms of ROI/ROAS to be profitable to hit that point and do everything you can to hit that particular figure. And then of course, the account will just keep getting more efficient and grow on its own, assuming that you still are watching it and doing some basic stuff that you need to do. If you want to know how quickly though this is going to get to profitability, given it does actually take a while. That's the issue here at hand, that a lot of people just run out of money before they ever hit that point because they think that Google Ads is just like a light switch that they're going to click on. They're going to test and see if Google Ads works. And then if it doesn't work, whatever. And the reality is, what you got to do with Google Ads to get it work, at least in any kind of competitive market, is you got to spend serious time just getting the ads set up properly before you start. Have a good site, good campaigns. Then you got to kick it on, and then you have to optimize it for a while before it ever works. So just kicking it on and just seeing if it will work after like a week or 2 weeks, you're basically not going to ever. You're doomed right from the start. You didn't have the right mindset going into it. And that doesn't obviously also take into effect. So I'll tell you right up front, the biggest issue is in competitive markets is it takes time to get money out of a customer in terms of time that they initially do their research to the time they buy. And then when you get a customer, to get the lifetime value out of a customer, because unfortunately, the people that can afford to run ads in your space that you see running ads already, they're valuing a customer based upon what they're worth over the first year or what have you. And if you're just trying to get the initial sale to pay for the ads, a lot of times you can't even get it to work at all before you go broke. They don't have to get it to work on the first purchase with that customer. They already know or can assume you take your total revenue at your company divided by the total customers you ever had, and then you know what your revenue per customer is, and then they can figure out what they can pay to get a customer, knowing what they're going to expect from that customer over the long run, and they price you out of the market in that case. So if you're in a non-competitive market, you can a lot of times get it to pay the ads to pay for itself and self-finance on the initial purchase alone. But if you're in a competitive market, it's not the case, generally speaking. Such as if you're in the cosmetic space, insurance, if you have a restaurant, you can't expect what they spend on that first meal at your restaurant to pay for the advertising costs and still be making money already. And anything they do after that's just gravy. Reality is, if it were that easy, all your competition would have already been doing it already. And you got to figure out how to keep that customer happy and coming back at least 3 more times to pay for the ads that it took to get them in the door in the first place. Anyway, with all that said, okay, in terms of how long this actually takes, I got here on the x-axis of my chart months here. I should have put in here months. And then on your y-axis here on my chart is ROI, or ROAS, revenue divided by ad spend. And what you're always going to do, whether it's, I shouldn't say that. To stand corrected here. If you have a little competition or a lot, you can't expect the first month that you're going to be break even in terms of you're making enough sales to cover your hard costs, the delivery of that product or service, and the ad spend. And it's going to take longer than that. Like I said, you hit profitability, you should be thinking about as you go into it is this is how much I'm going to make year 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if I have to spend a few months to get this going initially and run it at a loss, it's perfectly fine because I'm going to make that back in 1 month's worth of profits in year 3. And if you go in with that mindset, you will make it work. If you go in with the mindset that, oh, I have $5,000, I have to make this work in month 1, or otherwise I'll run out of money, you're going to fail, okay? So the first month, though, what you do, knowing that, because I'm telling you here, it'll get more profitable every month on the same ad spend. You go in, you commit to a certain amount of ad spend that you can afford to so-called lose for a few months until it is profitable. And that first month, you're going to get some sales, not very many. The second month, you're going to get a few more, not very many yet. Third, a few more. And your ROI is actually going to get walked up. And what you should already keep in mind is, as long as your ROI is getting better over time, and maybe not even on a month-to-month basis, but on a quarterly basis, it's getting better. Why? Because consumer behavior fluctuates a lot week to week and sometimes month to month. Don't assume because month 2 is not as good as month 1, this isn't going to work or get any better. Because if you zoomed out and you did it over a year, you would see the line that I'm showing you here, which the ROI consistently gets better the longer you're running that static budget you're starting out with. And if you have a lot of competition in the market, like we were selling office furniture, those standing desks, very competitive market, 10 competitors in that market. And when I say 10, there's literally 10 people cycling in and out of those top 4 spots, okay? In that situation, we're getting about a 0.75 ROI the first month. Then we're getting a 1.2 ROI the second month. Then the third month, we're getting a 1.4. And it keeps going. And we are not even to break even until we're at month 12. Literally, it takes a whole year of running it at a loss. Factor in, yes, it's a less loss later on down the line, but you got to be able to account for this in a super competitive market, what you're going to be in for before it's profitable. And in a market like that, we're talking literally about losing $30,000 to $50,000 in advertising spend till we hit profitability. But when it is profitable, we're going to be making, 30 grand a month in terms of the ads. You just got to keep in mind, if anybody can do what you're doing, the differentiator in your market is going to be the ads and how well you're running the ads. And are you willing to run them for a while at a loss to get the data to make them efficient? Because Google's system is using the data about who buys and who doesn't buy to make your ads more efficient on a consistent basis, as well as what you can do as the human optimizer of your ads. So whereas it could take 12 months in a competitive market with 10 competitors, if you have around 5 to 8 competitors, which is pretty middle of the road, it could take you typically like 5 months to hit break even, okay? We had a client that sold specialized paint, and what we did to differentiate there is we offered a warranty. Other people were offering that warranty, and that was enough to get it profitable in 5 months, okay? And so this line here, which represents the paint company, you can see how the ROI climbs quicker than the competitive standing desk competitor has and was here. These are real charts here. That said, what if we actually were in a market where there's very little competition? We're talking 2 competitors or less, and the product that we're selling is substantially better. In that kind of scenario, we can actually, where your ROI is going to come actually the fastest, we can get it profitable in a month. I don't have a line written out for this, but literally in 1 month, some of what I do on the side is I come up with product. I talked about how to come up with a business idea on this channel before. The best way to do that is just to go see what sells on Amazon, what gets a lot of reviews. On top of that, because a lot of reviews equals lots of sales and a lot of market demand, and you see what people are bitching about in the comments to understand how to make the product better. And if nobody else is making the product better, you buy that product, you figure out, and you send it to China, and you say to the Chinaman, or can you make it do this? They send you a sample, you check it out. If it checks out, okay, make 100 for me. You send that to the 3PL company, do drop shipping for you, outsource warehousing and shipping. We've got several sites that do that already, outside of the advertising agency that we have. That said, okay, we had a product that was visually 5 to 10 times better than all the other products in that market. It's not a huge market, which is why nobody had a product that actually looks really good in terms of the packaging. Because you can make a product have better packaging, and that could be what it takes to dominate the market. Or you could frame it better warranty, like I said before. You can figure out how to sell it for cheaper. There's a lot of different ways you can be better. But your goal by the way, many times, or it should be, how can I be 10 times better than the competition? Why? Because you're going to get your ads to be profitable in 1 month, because you don't really have any competition anymore, if you will. The paint company, nobody had the warranty. We had 5 to 8 competitors, so we're going to get profitability quicker. If you have 2 or less competitors and you have that same 10x difference in, it being that much better than the existing solutions in the market, then you can get it profitable over that 500% ROAS or ROI that most people need for a product business. After just 1 month, not the first month, but after running the ads for 1 month already. What you're trading for, because you could spend all your time, going through the motions of like what I described to find a really good winner product and come to the market with something where you're adding value to the market. You made something better and your ads will be profitable in a month. Or you could come to the market selling the same shit everybody else is selling in the market, and it'll take you a year and 50 grand worth of ad spend to be profitable. That's one way to make money out there. If you got 50 grand to dump into this, knowing it's going to eventually get to break even, and then it'll be profitable, it can be all cool. A lot of people are going to, say that's icky, I don't want to do that, or I shouldn't have to do that. Just know, if there's other guys selling what you sell and there's no 10x difference there, you have no other option. Be able to dump this money into it to collect the data. The data is the money. The collection of data in your account tells you how to run the ads efficiently. To find the 10% of what you're doing that actually gets you the level of ROI that you're looking for. If you have 2 or less competitors, and you have something that's 10 times better, or there's a reason for it to be in the market that you're in, you're not a Me Too product or service. This also applies to services. You can get it to work after 1 month and be profitable already. But if you are just like everybody else in a very competitive market, it can take a year. And your ROI can go up and down. It could take 4 months just to get up to a 200% ROAS if you're in a competitive market like that. It's like in a standing desk space. Like I talked about before, if you're in a market that has a lot where most of the money is made in repeat purchases, like a restaurant, you have rarely, like I said, unless you have no competition or very, very little competition, and you have a big competitive advantage on the competition that does exist, or you're the only one doing it, basically speaking, and there's a set demand for what you have there, you're going to have to value for that customer for what they are valued over at least the first year, and assume that it's going to take money to run the ads and then get a few sales from those customers you do get to justify the ad spend that you're spending. And which, by the way, if that's you and you were promoting a restaurant and you know that it takes 6 months to get your money back out of the customer, all you do is you start out with less ad spend up front. Invest what you can afford to lose. If you can afford to spend $10 a day, if it didn't work for 3 years, you'd still not even notice it's gone, then that's what you start with. Eventually it'll get profitable. Your account will get efficient enough to make your words break even. Even if it takes time to just get customers at a decent price, and then those customers have to buy 3 times to get your value out of them, it doesn't matter, because the money that you're investing into it, you're not on the clock, basically. The worst position you could be in is needing it to where you say, if it doesn't break even by month 7, I am fucked, and everything I did was for nothing. Don't do that. And if you think that's what you have to do, start with less ad spend. Yes, it's going to take you longer to get to profitability, because this is not predicated on time, it's predicated on data. You have to amass so much data to get the efficiency going on your account. If you're making, let's say $100 a day in your business, and you peel off 10 to get the Google ads going, well, you can easily sustain that. You don't want to be spending 50 a day and then don't have it be a hardship on your business, because you're going to stress yourself out over. That is a basic overview on average. What's the average ROAS for Google ads, like what you can expect. And it really all just is predicated on the time that you've run your campaign already, as well as the competition level in your market, and whether there's a lot of repeat purchases in your space. That is basically what you need to know in terms of ROI/ROAS. What's an average ROAS to get what you can get out of Google ads, what to set as a target ROAS up front on your campaigns, what you can get later on down the road. On the high end, you'll eventually get to 1,000% ROAS, but that'll usually be after the first year, because it's very hard to get that unless, again, you have no competition or very, very little competition, and something that's substantially better than the little competition you have. And in that case, you can get the 1,000% ROAS within the first 6 months. But generally speaking, and this is where a lot of people also make a mistake, you're better off having that 6, 7, 800% ROAS and scaling. You'll make more money sooner doing that than trying to get 1,000% ROAS, because it's so much harder to get 1,000 versus a 600% ROAS that your volume is going to be way, way, way less at 1,000 in comparison to 600. That the volume you get at 600 will make up for, and then some. The less margin you get on the 600 will be made up for by the volume that you do. It'll be way more volume. But you should understand where your break even is, but that gives you an idea of when you'll hit it and what you could get down the road. You can get a 2,000% ROAS if you want it, but you're probably going to do, by the way, very little volume. Respectively, part of the ROAS that you do get, even though the account shows you XYZ ROAS, there's other side benefits. Referrals, spending more than $10,000 a month on Google Ads greatly affects your organic rankings, and so forth. So even though your account says 600% ROAS, that's also why you should be already fine with that, because in the long run, that means 1,000 anyway. Realistically, because of the inherent problems with the tracking that Google has, only half of your purchases are going to be tracked. A 400 means an 800, just as a small side. A lot of people, they don't want to believe that, but that is the way that it is, because a lot of browsers don't accept cookies now. People switch devices before buying. If what you sell is more than $50, they're going to think about it for a while before they buy, and then that's going to provide some leaks in your conversion tracking data, if you will. So what you're really trying to do, generally speaking, is go for a 600, knowing that a 300 means 600 in your account. And the more expensive you are of what you sell, the less conversion tracking you're going to actually be able to pick up in your account as well, by the way. So, but if you have any questions about what I just covered here, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, you should, because this is the best information, I promise you, you're going to find on YouTube on the topic of actually making money with ads, given it's coming from somebody who actually runs ads as my 40-hour-a-week job, specifically focusing on the strategy and the testing and what works, which is different than what the other YouTubers are doing, because they are selling courses, but they're not running ads like I am all the time. And it seems like they do, and they're not. So the information you're getting here truly is unique. Beyond that, you can also find my blog. Check out my blog. It has step-by-step guides on specific strategies we're using to guarantee results for our clients that are advertising firm that you can bolt on to your current strategies and get the same kind of results for yourself. The blog has screenshots with the step-by-steps, everything you need to be able to set up working campaigns for your business, the true go-to items that we normally go to for getting results at our advertising agency. You can find those there. GuaranteedPPC.com/blog. Also, as a side, if you're looking for somebody to just do the heavy lifting for you to get the results on your account, we offer a guaranteed PPC service. And what that means is, if we agree to work with you, we'll offer you so much ROAS, going back to the topic at hand here, before you pay a fee. And if you are getting at such a certain level now, we would increase it before we would take a fee, with the fee that we charge actually being offset by the increase in ROAS we would get you. And if we don't get you that increase in ROAS, there's no fee. So we're the only firm out there that offers any kind of guarantee program like that. We should tell you about the quality of the services we're providing here. The catch is we don't work with just any client. You got to have something good to work on that we know we can really crush and do well with. If you want to see, though, if we can work together, reach out to me at GuaranteedPPC.com. I'd be happy to give you a free assessment and look over what you have and see if there's any potential there. And is it something we would want to actually work on? As a final note, also, we actually have been selling campaign templates. If you like managing your own ads, and we worked in your own niche market before, you should use the winning ads, landing pages, campaign templates that we've developed for your niche. Given we've worked in over 100 niches in the last 10 years running this firm, and if we've already worked in your niche, you can copy and paste everything that works in your market that we already have to get the same cost per lead or ROAS that we already get with it. And these templates are so turnkey that we got people starting other businesses with it from scratch, whether they're selling leads, flipping leads to people, whether they're selling a product that they could easily get their hands on from China that is similar to a product that our current or past client sells, and then they're selling it in a different geographic area. As long as you're in a different geographic area than our current or past client, it's all fair game to use it. and we can tell you the results you're going to get with it up front. If you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. But with that said, I'll wrap everything up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.